And we're back again. Here we are with Gears of Vengeance. Last time you guys uh, woke up, we're unsure whilst. Well, let's recap for a little bit further back. So, recap of this game from the beginning is that the gist of this game is the party is trying to find an ancient dwarven citadel at the behest of Caster Fizzbolt. Mr. Fizzbolt is hired. Originally, I hired 3 people: Andal, Silva, and Morgoth, to start investigating a bunch of dwarven ruins that were within a day's travel of Tanalvar, the main city that you guys are currently in. Over the course of a few weeks or a couple weeks of that adventuring and checking out different ruins and things like that, the 3 had originally kind of had a somewhat of a map of where the citadel might be, but weren't sure because of how ancient the landmarks were. So they were trying to deal with some of that when a 4th person and a 5th person entered into their lives. And Artemis initially came in while they were discussing this with Castor, and was given Castor's name from his old Alchemist master. And Artemis joined up with the other 3 at the behest of Fizzbolt to continue the search. And at the same time, they stumbled upon a rather pale woman who initially we weren't sure, but eventually they figured out she was actually following them around. But she seemed okay and was looking for a place to fit in, so they kind of joined up. Had a few more adventures where they figured out what was going on in a collapsed mine, and then from there helped clear out one of the original ruins that the first 3 had found of goblins, and discovered a much more complete picture of potentially how the dwarves came from the citadel to that. So in the last episode, having gotten all that, they finally got back and were able to speak to the cartographer, and the cartographer helped go over some of the things that they had figured out. They learned a little bit about a thing called the Dragon's Claws, which sounded similar to something that was in one of the murals, and they got a more accurate modern map of the area, which the GM still has to give. GM, you should this week. At the same time, they learned a bit more about Sealgair, finding out that she is actually sort of a mole or a plant placed there by the Church of Seer to keep track of what's going on with this whole thing, to rid out anything heretical and that sort of stuff. But that she's had a change of heart over the last year or so of her employment, or employment is a loose word, but and so has confided in them that she wishes to kind of leave this life, that might bring some of the eye of Seer upon them. It's currently, because she's doing a reasonably decent job of. After finding kind of all this sort of stuff out, they were approached by a tough that had originally tried to bury the first 3, Andal, Silva, and Morgoth, in one of the dwarven ruins, although they found a back way out, called Darwin. And Darwin basically proposed that his employer wanted to speak with them. Going to there, they talked to a man named Martek Imlovir, who was an artificer, but seemed to be more of an inventor nowadays, where he developed sort of the things and then had his sons and other people do most of the legwork. Martek suggested, hey, there's no reason for you guys to be at odds. He just wants the ability to potentially buy some of the items from you, as well as what Castor has said. You guys said you'd think upon it. He got a little frustrated by that, and you sense that he definitely got angry about it. But you mollified him with, hey, there's no reason why we might not be able to do this. We just want to discuss it. So you left there, having not given him an answer, but sort of implied that you would be giving him an answer soon. After that, you guys were trying to decide what to do next. You discussing things like trip to Arkan Falls and the Diarrheal Forest, searching for some herbs that were needed by a woman, an herbalist named Kalani, in the camps that are to the west of the city, as well as just spending some of your money that you had found. And at that point, Artemis, you had went and bought like a chain shirt and a few other things. Had tried to get something set up for the rune staff that is something that would be mark you as heretical to the church. So you were getting something set up for that, and you guys sort of discussed potentially, heading out the next day. Went to sleep, and that is where we are. So, what are you guys doing as the cock crows in the morning of the 4th of Falltide? Not everybody at once here.
We wake up.
You wake up.
So we need to give him an answer, and Artemis wouldn't mind going and getting those herbs for that herbalist in the camps.
Kalani, yeah.
If that's where the party, if we don't have anything major to go on, I think that seemed at some point we got to do it.
Sorry, I would also remind you that you guys did learn enough. You have somewhat of an idea of at least the direction to go to try to find the Citadel.
Didn't we determine we need a lot of gear, and it was kind of a...
Yes, you will definitely, it's probably going to be, to get to where you think you're going to need to go, it's probably a good 3 to 4 day journey. Mostly because it's Rocky Mountain, it's high mountains and things like that, so the going will be relatively slow. So you're going to need food, you're going to probably need some mountaineering gear. Correct, you did that.
So do we want to, as a group, is that where we're going right now? Do we want to go ahead and do you feel comfortable attempting that? I mean,
I'd want to put like a climber's kit if we're going to be headed up the mountains, kind of thing. I think it would be useful.
Oh, definitely.
I
just didn't know if we want to do that next. I'm good with that, but I didn't know if we. What do you think, guys?
Andy,
yeah, I'm good with getting gear.
Yeah, we definitely need to gear up, and then we have to.
Well, I will remind you, if you go do the herbalist stuff for Kalani, herbs for Kalani, you don't need to buy any new gear. You just forest.
Yeah, it's kind of a side questy thing.
Yeah.
So that's my vote.
Getting those stuff too.
There probably could be stuff in the forest that would be helpful for us to get, that would help us out as well. So.
And maybe some more experience too, in case we need to be a little higher level.
Such a medic.
Oh yeah, heavily metagaming that one.
Yeah, I'm all for the forest. We can go get some herbies.
I like XP. Oh, that sounds like the correct plan.
All right, so
we'll go talk to what's his name first and tell him.
So what were we going to say to him about some of the equipment? Was it something along the lines of, it's definitely a possibility, but right now at this time we have some work we have to finish. We don't want to insult them and think we won't sell to them, but now it's just not a good time right now. Is that the theme we were going to go with?
I mean, we could go with that, but it's entirely possible he won't accept such an answer.
Well, I mean, that's true. We need to tell him something, but I think giving him the option, and didn't he want the gun from Brian?
No, he wanted
an artifact.
The shield. Yes.
Yeah, he wanted the shield that I have.
So maybe, well, you're a good spokesperson, so I mean, I was gonna say maybe you didn't want to go meet him necessarily, and some of the rest of us would, but just say, we'll back you up. We'll back you play no matter what, unless you get us killed, in which case your fault.
I mean, he's using the shield, and it's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we should give him to him.
Yeah.
I think we should say is we don't really want to sell any of our current gear, as we are using it to get gear, but we can give you we might sell you some of the stuff we get in the future.
I was
That
gonna
way he won't,
ask.
kill us instantly.
I forget. I'm pretty sure I asked this last time, but how much does? Clearly, this guy is like a pretty big inventor for the city, but he also seems kind of shifty. And that he probably does some less than legal things at times if he needs to. So I didn't know. I don't remember if you had said Andal really knows much about him already.
So you don't know much about him other than what you just kind of said. You've never had any kind of contract from anybody to, do anything sort of, sneaky or spying for this against this particular guy. As far as you know, I mean, he's an upstanding citizen. And he's, you've heard of all the different times that he, provided assistance to the city and things like that. So, but there's nothing, you don't know of any, you haven't heard any rumors, anything like that about this guy in particular. But most of what the person who, hires you is after is not necessarily related to stuff. Not current. It's not in the past, I should say. Sorry. But yes, I mean, while you were in his presence, it definitely seemed like he certainly got perturbed, maybe a little angry about not getting his way.
Yeah.
That was pretty clear.
I don't know. He seems like the type of person that I don't really know if we should be giving him such artifacts. Because while, at least from what I know about Castor, he doesn't seem like the type of person who's really trying to make some new weaponry out of this sort of thing. He just kind of wants to know how it works. And then from there, we'll see what he decides he wants to do with that information. But this guy seems like whatever he would be able to figure out, he would want to be immediately trying to use it to create something that he can use. Whether that be in like construction, because he also does. Clearly, he does like everything. He makes inventions. He invents things for pretty much anything. But
Yeah, I concur. I mean, we should always, especially since we're getting a stipend and everything, and that's why we come here. For now, let's not slam the door, but we could probably shift some stuff that people may not want. But yeah, let's be weary.
Yeah, I don't think he's the type of person we want to get him mad at us. But yeah, I kind of agree with Andy that he seems to have ulterior motives and nefarious purposes.
But we do need to give him some sort of answer, and saying no outright is probably not the best way for us to continue to do business.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great way for us to get murdered in a back alley.
Knife in the back. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, his associate already did drop a wall.
He
on
did,
him,
in
so.
fact, dropped a little bit of a mountain on top of us. It was interesting.
So yeah, why don't we just tell him? We'll give him the opportunity to buy some of the stuff we find.
Isn't that pretty much what we told him last time when we saw him?
We didn't say officially that.
Yeah, you didn't officially give him that.
Okay.
Said it might be okay, but you wanted to discuss it.
Okay, yeah, then that'll be our answer for him. But the items we currently have are not for sale at the moment.
Or
At the moment. I mean, after we come back, we might say, oh, we actually don't need that anymore. You can have it if you want it.
because you got a better shield.
Ah, yes, this one dances faster.
But of course,
It's a better dancer. This one does a waltz. The other one did a slow dance.
Very important. You have shields that do different dances.
Right. You never know what type of attack pattern you're gonna have. All right.
All right. So what are you guys doing?
I think we'll go tell the guy our decision, and then I think we should I feel like when we go get herbs for Kalani, we'll probably find something in there that we might also need. Because like I don't think we need just like mountain climbing, mountaineering equipment to get to where we're trying to go.
We could go back to the cartographer. Does the map we have map anything interesting in that section, Peter? Or
Which
does it even
section?
show that section?
Which section?
The section of the forest where we are going to get the herbs.
Yeah. No. I mean, like I said, let me bring you to here, and I'll give you kind of an idea of this is the full map of the entire archipelago, but I'll kind of limit it down to where. So if you bring yourselves down to basically, you see this spot here. Let me. So the map you have is basically something that's basically like about that square. See the square?
Yes.
Yeah. So Tanelvar is right here, right here on the edge of the lake here. This is the lake that's in where the and I keep on having problems. The diarrheal forest is along this side of the lake over here on this other side. This is the capital of the whole march of the area called oh my gosh, it starts with a Y. It's like Isitril or something like that. Which name is escaping me. But the Tannel River comes down out of here into the lake and then continues flowing out and joins up with another river before going off to this channel. The diarrheal forest is this right here. More colloquially known as the Arkenwood, is more closely around where the river exits, and that is where the town of Arken Falls sits. Depending on which way you want to go, there's typically about halfway around. Like it's about a 2-day journey to get around either direction, to get from Tanelvar to Arken Falls. And Arken Falls in that area is kind of where we need to get to for the herbs and stuff like that. Say that's kind of the big thing. So this kind of represents the map you have, where the cartographer Garth Manson's mentioned is that the claws and that sort of stuff are off the map you had seen kind of over in this area. He wasn't sure if it was more north or more south, but kind of along the Lirvar Mountains here. So that's kind of what you have for the map that you have. Now, this is a map of the Nearvar, the Near Rail marches. So this about 150 years ago, or maybe it was about 100 years ago, the Near Rail marches was the kingdom of Nirail, which was a Daeri kingdom. Over the last 100 years, it was basically taken over by the kingdom of Seer the king. And so now it is a march of the Seerly kingdom, which has since then has taken over up here as well, which was used to also be a Daeri area, but it's also been taken over by the Seerly kingdom. So Seerly kingdom now pretty much is all of this side of the Lirvar Mountains and this island here. You kind of looked out a little bit. This is now all Daeri kingdoms. There's like 5 kingdoms here. And then over here is also still Daeri. So that's kind of what you have at this point.
So does our map show anything? Should we buy a new map? That was my thought. That may show something interesting, or are we good?
I don't know what you mean by interesting. Like this is sort of
like runes or anything in that area.
No, this is more of a geopolitical geography map than it is here's where there's some ruins and that sort of stuff. It doesn't show it. Like he gave you a modern map of this area.
Okay, so we're probably, unless we want to get something like that, which I don't know, we could ask, but he probably doesn't have anything.
Like you'd probably want to try to find something more of an older map, which you already kind of have with the Dwarven map. Now the Dwarven map, the Dwarven ruins and things that you've found are assumed to be somewhere between 1,500 to 2,000 years old. So they're even further older than maybe some of the more recent ruins. Like at this point in time, probably the next most recent map you could get is to try to speak with some of the Diary who were here, or at least their descendants who were here from 150 years ago. You might see some maps there. That might at least show you some of what the towns and cities and fortifications and stuff looked like 150 years ago, and maybe some of that stuff has fallen into ruin. It's hard to say. And maybe Garth has one of those, but that was not the questions you asked.
Right. I was just trying to find another reason to go there other than that. I'm sure we can stumble across something.
Let's
or we
go
can
talk to Lily, Meet on her.
No, she didn't really like me very much, but yeah, I think others of our party, she did.
Artemis can't read the signs.
Now that Brian's here.
Yep.
Oh,
I know he's here.
Sorry about that. I just got off work.
Sorry. All right. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to go speak with Martek and get at some job stuff? What do you want to do?
I think we go to find the herbs, right? Okay. Now the question is, do we want to go?
I think we go see Martek first, then we go to the herbs.
Oh yeah, sorry, Martek first, then the herbs. Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Let them know what we're gonna do.
All right. So you guys headed out now, or are you gonna? What do you do?
No, I think we go there now.
Okay. So you guys leave from Morgoth's house, and as you head out into the streets of Tannelbar, you remember that Martek's house is kind of right up in here. Morgoth's house is kind of more down in this area, near where Fizzbolt's is actually. And so it doesn't take you very long to get up to that compound that was Martek's place. The gates are open. Business, it's clear that he's open for business for the day. You can see the weapon shop and things like that is open to the side. Coming inside the walls, what are you guys doing? Do you want to go to the weapon shop first? Do you want to go over to try to get into the manor house? You can see Darvin is kind of sitting over there on the steps of the manor house, kind of watching people come in and out, and he sees you. When he sees you guys coming in, he kind of gives you a nod.
I wave.
He doesn't get up though. He just gives you guys a nod.
Yeah, nod back to him.
I think we should just head in and talk to him first.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys go over, and as you get closer, Darvin stands up and he's like, "So you got an answer? Is that what I'm understanding here?"
Yes.
Do you want to just give it to me, or should I go get the boss?
I mean, should we just tell him, or should we should we get the boss?
Talk to the boss. I feel like talking to the help.
What?
That's valid.
It's valid. It's funny. I thought it was funny. All right. So he says, "All right, give me a moment. I'll go see if he's available." He turns and heads inside the manor house and closes. You guys wait for about 10 minutes tops, probably closer to like 5 or 6. Just seems longer. When he comes back out, he kind of waves and he says, "Come on, come on." He's in between appointments right now, so let's make this quick.
I enter.
All right. So you guys follow in, and you get back in, and he takes you to the study again. And in sitting there at the desk writing some stuff is Martek. And quick. Where is now? I really should have updated this because I have a new version of it with some, graying hair, and his graying and his red in his beard and on his head. But he looks up as you enter and he says, it's very good to see you again. I'm hoping that you have good news for me. He looks expectant.
Quick out of character. What did we decide to do?
We decided that we were going to tell him we're not going to sell anything we currently have, but we're gonna give him an opportunity to buy anything we get.
Okay. Well, we've decided that our current items will stay with us, but any future things that we come back with, we will give you the option of purchasing, of course.
He looks at you for a moment and then actively turns to Andal and says, "Is this your decision?"
That's sexist. He was talking to me last time.
Might be sexist. It might be something else, but yes.
I'm pretty sure he just wants to know if I'll give him my thing or not.
Yeah.
He wants my stuff. For the moment, the shield is quite helpful for helping us get through all of the adventures that we've had to do so far. It's been invaluable in keeping everything going and keeping it, at least me, alive, and whoever ends up having to need to use it. And from what we understand, the ruins we'll be going to next will be much tougher than anything we've faced already. So I think that we'll need the group and I will need as much as we can use as possible to ensure success. So
as you've been talking, sorry, go ahead.
In the future, if I end up deciding that I don't need to use it, I will certainly sell it to you.
As you've been talking, he's sort of been nodding slightly as if an understanding. As you finish, he puts down the ink pen, the pen he's using. He says, "Understandable. This is acceptable." He rings a bell, and after he rings a bell, he says, "Well, I think this can be an acceptable arrangement for me. Let us celebrate a little bit with this." And in comes a diaryman wearing what looks to be sort of a livery of some sort, with a hammer and tongs kind of sewed onto the upper, over the heart kind of thing. And he brings in sort of a bottle and places it on the desk, and then Martek just nods at him and he leaves. And Martek pulls out a few glasses and sets them on the desk, and he then opens the bottle and he says, "A fine Syrli wine from the estates on Syrvine itself. I've been saving this one for a bit of a celebration. Let us toast our newfound friendship." And he pours several glasses for everybody. Or pours a little bit for everybody. And then passes them out.
He just opened this bottle?
Yeah, he just opened this bottle.
Right. Are you thinking it's poisoned as well?
He literally just opened the bottle in front of you.
You
heard
it had
pop open as he opens it up.
That doesn't mean he isn't sleight of handy.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
the poison the glasses.
I was definitely thinking that.
But my deception is too low to be able to try to fake drink it.
It's perception.
So terrible.
I'll take
he
it.
offers you all glasses, and then he gives a toast. He's like, to a hopefully a fruitful friendship, and he drinks some of the wine.
Yeah, I'll take a sip to a fruitful, to a profitable.
I'll drink.
Yeah,
especially if he's just gonna go do it, he's probably fine.
Yeah, probably right.
He's probably fine.
After he kind of drinks it and he tastes a little bit, he says, $12.50, a good vintage.
What year is it?
It's 1283.
Okay.
This is a deep.
As an alchemist, can I identify what's in it as far as
grapes?
Right, but is it a hint of this and a hint of that?
I mean, it tastes like a very complex, aged red wine.
Okay, so I was kind of like,
give me a perception roll, and I will let you. Maybe you'll detect something that you might find interesting.
Oh, hi.
So it's good enough, I guess. I mean, you detect that if this bottle had been kept maybe for another, it's just on the edge of starting to turn to vinegar. So it's like right on the edge of
Well done.
yeah, of about the time. Like you can just start to taste a little bit of the the tang of that sort of the bite of that acid of the vinegar. So it's okay though. I mean, the wine's fine. It's decent, and it tastes like wine, like a red wine. After he takes a drink, he says, "So what is your next move? What are you guys doing next?"
That's a great question.
We know what we're doing next.
We have some. I'm going to look for some herbs. I have some. I'm a bit of an alchemist, so they agreed to accompany me, and we're going to explore. So, and soon we're going to.
It'll probably take a day or two, and then once we're finished with that, we're going to get a bit of mountaineering equipment because from what we understand, we'll probably have to be going a bit into more rugged terrain to get to where we want to go.
You need some equipment. If I were to help provide you with some equipment, move up your timetable.
Absolutely.
Well, we do have to get these herbs, so I mean.
It probably
yeah, but then we wouldn't have to come back to get the equipment.
Yeah.
No, you're going to head east. The thing is west. The forest you're going to is to the east.
Oh,
the mountains are to the west.
This is John trying to stall him.
That.
Yeah, I'm just reminding Cole of that.
Oh, I know. I'm just trying to get free stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying not to give him too many of our, where we're going type thing.
No, I understand. I understood that.
Oh, I know you know that. I'm just saying for the rest of it, right?
Yeah. Well, where are you headed then to find these herbs? So locally, I assume, or further afield?
Further afield. I heard you said to the east is where we're going.
Yeah, Arkan Falls is on the other side of the lake to the east.
So I heard around the lake have some myths and legends or some rumors that some very, very obscure herbs are there. So my master had mentioned them, so I'm looking forward to finding them.
Fair enough. I have heard similar things, although alchemy is not my forte. But good luck on your journey. And he drinks some more of the wine and then says, "I hope your trek is fruitful, and we can get down to the business of discovering the secrets of these ancient dwarves as soon as possible."
Raise my glass to that and finish it off, and then thank you.
Same.
All right. He's like, "It was good. I'm glad this was mutually beneficial for both of us, and hopefully that we'll see something come out of this quickly and soon. And if you wouldn't mind, please keep this to ourselves for the time being. I understand that you are also working with Castor, but I mean, I would like to speak with him on my own time, to apprise him of this."
Can do.
Good day.
Good day to you as well. And I walk out.
Okay.
Good day.
Okay.
And walk out.
You guys are head out, and I'm just outside the door, or Morgoth. As you come out, you see Darvin has been standing there, and he kind of looks at you as you walk by, and kind of nods slowly, but just continues to stare at you as you kind of walk down the hallway and to the front door. After the rest of you kind of come out, he follows the last person.
I let Silva wave at him.
Eventually leaving out through the front of the manor. And what are you guys doing now?
Let's go get
Darvin
some
closes
herbs.
the door and takes a seat again on the near the front entrance.
So he did not follow us any further.
No, he didn't follow you any further. He just went and got back to his. As you guys continue out of the manor, out of the gate, and into the street.
So you guys ready to start? We could go talk to. Do I remember what herbs I'm collecting?
Well, I mean, you know that Kalani wants a marga. otherwise known as bitterroot.
And where's the camp? Is the camp to the west or east?
The camp is on the western side of Tanelvar. Where Diarel Forest is on the eastern side of the lake.
Okay,
Or
so
on the western side of the lake.
I don't really see any reason. If we were going past it, we could stop by and talk to her again.
No,
but-
there's no reason. I mean, it does occur to you at this point. It's like, why does she need to? Why is she asking you to go so far to get these things? But I mean, that's something that is kind of an oddity that you're not sure about. But I don't know. You haven't really done any investigation around the city to see what's going on with that. But it has occurred to you at this point.
And she could be trying to get us to prove ourselves type thing. But
Possible.
yeah, I'm sure there's more to it. Artemis isn't sure he doesn't have that type of streetwise to really investigate.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm just saying it has occurred to you at this by about this point that like, hey, this is this is about 2 days travel by foot. Seems a little bit far afield for something that maybe she should be able to get more locally in such a large city. But that's the only thing that's kind of occurred to you at this point.
Do I know of what type of potions would this brew? Anything necessarily military?
So no. Amarga bitterroot is basically it's used to make teas and stuff to soothe coughs and other breathing type issues. That's all it is.
So yeah, I will stop in like an herb shop or something and ask maybe to purchase some and see.
You haven't seen too many. You haven't seen any herb shops, at least in the merchant district. I mean, coming back down, you do vaguely remember that there was an apothecary on the north side in the sort of the newer portion of the city. You remember one in there, but you don't remember the name of it. But it was kind of near where Sven was that you were talking to get the case for your.
So before we leave, I'm gonna kind of follow that up, and then we can be ready. I should be back by noon if I go there and come back.
Yeah, totally. All right.
So if you guys want to come, or
you head out to the north side there. I mean, if your guys are headed, if you're gonna walk to Arkan Falls, then you will head out that way anyway.
was there a boat? Didn't you say there was some other way to cross?
There is another possibility. You could potentially try to take a barge or a boat.
So what do you guys think? Is time of the essence and we should pay that, or we're just gonna kind of go and for the experience
I
and see what
don't
we
think
find?
time is of the essence.
Yeah, we want to beat other people there. We don't want them stealing our hoard.
Nobody else knows where it is.
Yeah.
Know of.
Yeah.
Well, if we could take the boat there and then walk back, that would give us more time to explore there too. When do we might be contacted by Isgoth or whatever his name is? Sorry, our boss. We might be contacted by our boss. Yes.
Fizbolt? Well, no, Fizbolt's not contacting you at all. The last you talked to him, he said, "Hey, go find out how to get to where you want to go, and then come back and talk to me." He wants to go with you, but kind of implied that it might be a rough trip, so he was rethinking that. But you don't know, like he doesn't know. You haven't talked to him since you've talked to the car, and given him sort of a status up.
Okay, so we don't check. He doesn't send us messages in between.
No, he's assuming you
stuff.
like. As far as you guys are, as far as it seems like you guys are concerned, you're the ones that are being the proactive of him and talking to him. He's never sent you a message other than the very first time he sent Morgoth a message saying, "Hey, I need some people to come help me find some stuff." Other than that, he's more than likely. It's just the fact that you guys have already brought him stuff. He is so into researching that and trying to figure it out that he kind of forgets about you guys until you show up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, look, you guys are back," kind of thing.
But yeah, my plan. Let's just go by the apothecary and then we'll go on out. Like I said, I wouldn't mind the boat just to see. But Artemis
We
might
can
like
do
a
that.
little comfort. I mean, he does come from a different type of
I'm
lifestyle.
fine with the boat, but I'm also fine. Well, I don't really have an opinion. I'm good either way.
I mean, based on your map that you have, like I said, it's a 2-day walk to Arkan Falls, about 6 hours or so out of the city. There is a small village. Based on the map, it looks like it's called Guildvale, and then you following the Diarrheel Road is what it's called, and then about a good 10 hours, so that's probably about 6 hours out of the city, you guess, from walking, maybe a little lower, maybe a little less, and then Arkan Falls is probably about another 8 to 10 hours from there. So you could literally wait until up to maybe noon or 1 today and still make it to that village by nightfall, if you so desired, based on the map that you have from the cartographer. Or you could try to go down to the docks and see if there are any barges leaving for Arkan Falls, and you're not sure. You don't know exactly how long that'll take, just because none of you have actually taken a barge across.
Yeah, that's an adventure in
Field
itself.
trip.
Let's go take the boat. Let's go floaty on the boaty.
So yeah, that would be my vote too, and then I'll go to the apothecary and meet y'all at the port. Like I said, anyone's welcome to come with me, but it'll probably be a boring conversation.
I'll go with you.
Yeah, I'll just head to the boat.
All right, so what are you guys doing? You're splitting up?
Yep, we're splitting the party. It's perfect tactics.
All right, so
Usually okay.
Never failed before.
who's headed to the apothecary and who's headed to the docks?
I'm going to the apothecary.
I'm going to the docks.
I'm going to the apothecary.
I want to go to the
Andal-
apothecary too.
Andal will go to the docks.
All right, so Silva and Andal start heading to the docks. The other 3 of you head to the north of the city, heading over the river into the newer market area that kind of been coming up on the north side.
And we'll meet up, but we'll
Right.
give it a location to meet up,
All right,
like
so
the bar.
all right, so well, the only bar that Andal knows on the docks that he knows is the Salty Rat. You can meet up there if you want.
I mean, if there's a better place, we're not really trying to get drunk. Just,
No, it's a known place. It's very notable. Anybody in the city can direct you to the Salty Rat.
Okay, so what is notable about this bar?
It's just a dive bar, man. Dive bar where where many of the dock workers and things like that tend to end up. Why it's notable.
Okay, so I'm gonna take off.
All right. So
With
3 of
everyone
you
else,
start
whoever.
heading over, and the rest and Andal and Silva start heading towards the docks. Let's deal with the apothecary first. It takes you maybe 15-20 minutes to get to where you're going over there, and sure enough, next to Sven's, actually not quite next to Sven's, a couple of houses down, is an apothecary, and see the mortar and pestle kind of sign above the door, and heading inside you see a short rotund man. Short in this sense meaning he's like 3 feet tall, clearly a halfling. He was kind of grinding some stuff in a mortar and pestle as you kind of walked in, and he looks up as the door opens. He's like, "Oh, hello. How are you guys? My name's Nicholas. What can I do for you?"
Well, my friend, I'm Artemis. I'm here to perhaps look for some herbs and see your wares.
I see. Well, depends on what you're looking for. I'm out of many things. There's been a shortage the last couple of. A normal supplier has not been able to come through, but what are you looking for?
I'm gonna name a couple things and then the route that she's looking for as well.
So
Kind of hide it amongst there.
so you throw out a few things, and one of them you kind of threw out there is let's see here.
Maybe a couple things I could use to make a health potion, by the by.
You kind of throw out Delrian, which is it's a woody plant that usually when you boil the bark of it, you can use it as sort of like insect repellent. And he kind of shakes his head like, no, that's not something we normally have. And you mention Larnurma. Larnurma, is a tree with yellow fruit about the size of a plum. And you know that those things can, like, if you eat them directly, they're basically supercharged good berry, and they give you a couple of hit points of healing back. But if you ferment them and put them with oil, that can turn into sort of a paste that you can use sort of a healing salve. In essence, this is sort of like he says, normally we do have some of that, but again, the supplier doesn't. I haven't had any in a while, so all of my healing stock is dried up. I mean, I do have one more flask of the Lenormand oil left if you want to buy some oil, but I don't have any of the drinks. And when you mention Bitterroot or Merga, he basically is the same thing. Yeah, that one's the bigger one. Lots of people are asking for that one. And again, my supply is just nobody in the city has been able to get any.
That's unusual. I'm new to the city, but
it is unusual. My supplier in Arkin Falls, her name is Morgan. She says something's going on in the forest, and that most of her gatherers won't go in.
Okay.
Really?
That's.
Did she happen to mention what? Because I mean, some of the stuff I've probably may head that way.
No,
if it's...
they didn't. He didn't give any more detail than that. I only learned that about like 3 days ago. I did send another message back saying, "Is there any expectation that this is going to resolve itself?" But
well, if we were thinking about planning that way. If I couldn't get these herbs, because I do have some things I want to, look into. Is there anything that you might, if I do find some of these, that you would want to purchase?
Well, everything you've mentioned already, sure. There's a bunch of other things. Like one thing that we really need around here is the Bitterroot. I mean, that's the bigger one. Some kind of cough or pneumonia or something going through the camps, and people keep on asking for it all the time. If we don't start getting some soon, then I don't know what's going to happen. That could turn into a plague of some sort out there. So Bitterroot would be great. Another one would be where is it? White Bryony. This is sort of it's a climbing vine with these greenish white star-shaped flowers and red berries. But I don't care about any of that stuff. The root is what we need. You can brew that into a tea that is a cure for pneumonia. So those are really the bigger ones. Like those are hot commodity right now. I'll probably spend the most money to get those because I can sell a lot of the different tinctures and teas and things like that to people locally for this. Other than that, I mean, you bring me something, and if I find a use for it, I'll buy it. Otherwise, I mean, like I said, my supplier in Arkin Falls will probably just get it for me anyway at some point.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd hope for a little. I do understand when supply goes down that there's nothing you can do. I will take that oil.
Okay. The oil is made from Larnurma. Let me find this again real quick because I have a list of these things. Find out how much it's going to cost you because I need to remember exactly what the so he will sell you this one oil for 30 gold pieces. Is enough for 2 applications You basically apply it like a rubbing. You rub it onto the affected area, and it will heal 1d4 hit points. As
many
well,
gold pieces? Did you
30,
say?
30, which is cheaper than the 50 gold pieces that you would get from a potion, but higher than you think it should be, probably because of
Supply and demand.
Yep.
Kind of look and say, jingle my money pouch subtly to the other two to see if they can spot me. I've got 19 gold.
I give him 11.
All right.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. So you buy two, in essence, two applications of Lenorma oil, and you can call it healing oil if you want. That's fine. I don't have it in the thing yet. And like I said, basically, it's this one. No matter what, it takes an action if you want to do it in combat because you're applying the oil, so you have to get it out and apply it. It's not like drinking something. And you apply it to a wound, and it basically heals 1d4 hit points.
Okay, better than nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, and from your own experience that typically, one application of this oil should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 gold. So he's definitely charging higher than normal rates.
Premium.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any healing potions or anything on the wall? What else does he
No,
have?
he doesn't seem to have any healing potions. A lot of the stuff that you see is seems to be more typical, remedies for things. So, an itching cream kind of thing, various teas for different things and stuff like that. Typically like tinctures and stuff like that. Here's a tincture for performing better in bed. Here's a tincture for making sure your husband leaves you alone. All these sorts of, kind of remedy sorts of things. One thing that you do notice though is that as you're going through and you're just not really paying too much attention to it, but it does strike you as odd as you notice that he's got a bunch of dried herbs that are it looks like they're drying or maybe have already dried and maybe you could purchase them that way. One set you're pretty sure is belladonna, which seems a little odd because normally that's a poison, but it's also used to ward off lycanthropes.
Oh, good. We just found out what's in the woods.
So I'm not saying you should find out what's in the woods, but I mean, it just seems odd that he would have something like that out in the open. So either he doesn't know what it is, or maybe there's more call for belladonna than you would have expected in this area.
So I noticed you do have some belladonna. That's?
Oh yes, that up there, belladonna. Yes. It's not something I give out to everyone. You have to give me a good reason. Brewed correctly, I need delicately put. Brewed correctly, it can be used to induce a miscarriage.
Oh, that's an interesting application. I understand that it had. It also is good.
I
for
mean,
certain animal
clearly
bites.
you will also be sick, and you'll feel sick as well. But it is yes, that's one of the uses here.
One of my
between you and me, it's typically being used by a higher clientele, higher end clientele.
Interesting.
But I have also had a few people come in and ask for it by name. They claim that there are werewolves somewhere in the city. I do not believe them, but I believe they're probably a member of either the Dark Circle or the Shadow, and they're brewing it for their own poisons. But money is money.
How much is it?
He will sell you a belladonna for let me see here. Probably 3 gold is how much he has. You can get it in 1 gold increments if you want.
So what would that? Do I know?
Oh, you could brew a poison from it. Yes.
But do I know the application to use for the were animals and that kind of thing?
So yes, belladonna can be used for. I gotta find it.
For the treatment?
Yeah, you could treat werewolves with it. Yes.
Okay. Would I know how to brew that?
You could try to figure. You might know how to do it. It's again, I'm still trying to come up with some of sort of the crafting rules for some of these things, but it's just a DC over time.
Okay.
Typically, so here's kind of what you know. It's you do know that it can potentially cure lycanthropy, but you don't know. You're uncertain what the exact formula is for doing that at this time. That doesn't mean you couldn't. It doesn't mean you couldn't try to go do research and stuff like that to try to figure it out. But you could certainly buy some now if you want to. Yes. It will keep for a while, especially in its dried form.
I'll ask Shelly. Perhaps Shelly could. I have some research which might help. Everyone. If you could spot me 3-year-old. I'm absolutely broke. Between the chainmail and everything else, I'm absolutely broke.
Of course. What use have I of money?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah,
So
I'll give you 3.
all right. So you guys buy some dried belladonna.
Yeah, and I'll research on it later. But
he provides you that, and he says that's the end of my supply here as well. So if you happen to find more of that, potentially buy some of that.
So Peter, I have a alchemist supplies in my inventory.
That means you can do. That means you have the stuff to be able to brew potions. That's what you have.
Like minor healing potions or first aid kind of stuff.
Oh no! That means you have you have enough stuff so that if you get a particular set of ingredients that, like, there's a key ingredient needed for a particular potion. In the case of healing potions, there's like 2 or 3 that you could use to make a healing potion. Lenormand being one of them. But the alchemist kit basically means you have all of the basics you need to be able to brew potions. You just need the final ingredient that's the specific thing for a particular potion. So, you have liquid, you have some alcohols, you have, all those sorts of things. Like if you wanted to make an acid, sure, that you could do easily from the stuff. If you wanted to make a particularly strong acid, well, John did this in the past via his alchemist stuff. In the future, it will be, hey, either you have to be an alchemist, so you're kind of using your own special stuff to make it happen, or you have to have a special ingredient to make a super strong acid.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking of, being my particular trade, that I might have like a very basic first aid or...
Well, an herbalism kit can be used for potions, healing potions specifically. And
yeah, I've
also,
got both of those.
Poison potions.
Okay.
There's a sort of a
but I could use it to create like some sort of acid or coating to coat my arrows or something, right?
Yes. Now, you can do that right now with basic ingredients. It just will be a basic, coating or a basic poison. It won't be anything special. But for instance, if you took that belladonna, that wolfsbane, and added it to one of your things, and you got the appropriate DC, well, then it would be a more potent poison, and it would, probably increase the DC on it or increase the damage on it, or depending on it.
Okay. Well, he said he's out of stock, so
he's currently out of stock, but Artemis just bought some, so technically
we could share.
Has belladonna.
All right, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
I would like to ask him real quick if he could give me a quick description of like all the major herbs he needs.
The plants?
Yeah.
All right.
So it's just.
So he mentioned belladonna. It's a plant that's about 1 foot to 2 feet tall.
Sorry, I meant like write it down for me so I can like look at it while I travel. Because I'm gonna forget.
Yeah. So I'm telling you what it is. It's a delicate purple flower. It's a 1 to 2 foot plant with a delicate purple flower. Bitterroot is a plant with thick leaves at the base and light pink or white flowers. The other one he's looking for is Lenormand, is a tree with a yellow fruit. It's the yellow fruit that's the size of a plum that you want. And then white bryony is a climbing vine with a greenish white star shape. Green berries which turn red when they're ripe. He doesn't care about any of that part. He wants the root. Root is what they're.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. You guys head out, and we'll switch over to Andal and Silva, you guys have kind of made your way down to the docks. The docks are somewhat busy today. It looks like a couple barges have arrived from across the lake, and they're currently being unloaded. There's several fishing vessels that are coming in with the morning's catch already, and are headed towards the markets that are the open air markets that are kind of one or like a block away from the docks. One thing that I haven't mentioned before, but I'm going to mention this time, is that you now notice this at this point that there's sort of like a double layer to the docks, which I haven't mentioned in the past, but I'm mentioning now. It's almost as if at one point in the past, the docks were higher than they are now. So there's sort of one level of docks which are about 15 feet higher up than the other one, and that upper level now is sort of where some of the like the salty rat is built on top of that sort of stuff. Something you've necessarily ever inquired about, but you can sort of see this sort of double level kind of look to it.
So the water level has lowered?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
And so there's this upper level of stuff where buildings and stuff are things on that. You can see the warehouses, but it clearly was at one point docks because it's, stone worked or wooden made. And then about 10 to 15 feet lower than that is the current docks. And it's also clear that this upper level is further back from the current level of the shore. So kind of implying that, yes, maybe the level of the has dropped. So yeah, there's currently a bunch of ships that are in or fishermen boats that are currently in. You can see from where you're at, you can see a couple of barges that are unloading things. But there's at least one more set of docks a little bit farther north. What do you guys want to do? Or what are you two trying to do?
Well, I think we should just approach someone like the dock hand or somebody that's doing unloading a barge or something, and ask them if they'd take us across the lake.
All right, so you kind of come up to one of the guys, and there's a kind of a burly, slightly green tinged guy kind of picking something up, a big crate, kind of starts trundling down towards a warehouse or towards the thing, so you can start going up the steps up to the higher level. And you kind of pause him for a moment, or that's what you see. That's the first one you see. Do you want to talk to him, or there are other dock workers? Do you want to find somebody who's not currently doing something? What do you want?
Yeah, I won't stop him while he's lifting heavy something. I'll stop somebody who's not actively doing something.
So there's another guy coming back who you saw pass you by as you kind of were coming down. This guy seems to be a dairyman. He's kind of walking past. He's dock worker type looking. Kind of got the ambling gait, like maybe he's also been on a boat. Trying to stop him.
Yes, I'll stop.
He's like, oh, hello.
Hail and well
I'm a
met.
little busy, but what do you need?
My sincerest apologies for stopping you out of your busy schedule. I would like to inquire about if there's any barge or boat that would take me and a party of mine across the lake to the name has escaped. Arkan Falls. Yes, I knew it started with a name. To the Arkan Falls.
Well, these boats here, and he kind of gestures at the two barges. He's like, they just got in. I don't think they're leaving till tomorrow. But there's a barge up the way on the northern jetty, on the northern docks. It's called the no, not the. It's run by Sallow, Dak Sallow, Captain Dak. The ship is named the Snapper. That's what it is. It's called the Snapper. I think they were just starting to load up this morning, so they might not have left by yet. You hurry up there, might be able to find him.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
So the northern docks are, maybe about 200 feet, 300 feet further north. They're not that. This docks area is not super huge, but it's big enough. Heading up there, sure enough, you can see that there is a lone barge in amongst a bunch of small fishermen boats. And there's definitely a guy who's kind of directing what looks to be a hand crane. He's directing somebody who's using that hand crane to pull in a rather large crate that they're trying to slowly get onto the deck of this.
Hello. If I might trouble you for a minute.
The guy turns and the guy who turns to look at you is relatively tall man. He looks like there's a little bit of punch to him, but it looks like it's just because he's lost a little muscle tone, not because he's necessarily heavy. He kind of looks at you and kind of you see him kind of crunch something in his mouth, and he spits over the side and says, "What do you need, lady?"
Well, I was wondering if I might trouble you.
Don't you look like we're already having trouble with this particular thing here?
Oh, well, yes, of course, I can see that. I'm wondering if me and a couple of my associates could join on the barge when you guys head up to the Arkan Falls.
Well, possibly. Don't necessarily take passengers, but I guess we could. Maybe a gold piece per person for the trip.
Sounds more than fair.
Well, we're leaving in less than an hour.
Okay.
As soon as we get this big one on and secured, there's a couple more small things that need to be added. Then me and my crew are headed out. So you got 30 minutes to be all on board. If you're not there, then you're just not going to be part of my trip.
That sounds more than fair. Thank you so much. We'll see you in half an hour, hopefully.
Oh yeah, my name's Dak.
My name is Silva, and this over here is Andal, who's not speaking.
He might be muted.
That is a possibility.
It kind of looks like a mute.
Well, he has his moments.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see you in a moment. And you guys, where you guys headed?
I'm gonna head and try and find them because obviously we have a pretty short timetable.
Well, I mean, you guys had agreed to meet at the Salty Rat.
Yeah, so I'll head there.
All right. So you head on over there, and the Salty Rat, as you get closer, again, is a dive bar that's built on top of the old docks, and just getting close to it, you can know you're getting close because just the smell and the noise. Even in the morning, it's just crazy. The Salty Rat, entering in, you basically come into the smell and like smoke and sort of stuff hits you as you open the door inside. And there's a tall, thin, lanky guy behind the bar. There's maybe maybe about a dozen sailors and dock workers in here. I mean, it's like 8, 9 in the morning. And they're clearly drinking and carousing and talking and things like that. What do you do? You guys just gonna go in and take a seat, or toss both Brian in and
Yeah, we'll just go take a seat.
yeah. Sorry, Sealgair and Morgoth and Artemis, you guys head out from the apothecary and know to meet them at the Salty Rat. It takes you about 20 minutes to get there or so. Coming down the dock side, you can see docks are pretty busy this time of the morning. The early fish catch has been brought in, is being set up and being taken to market. There's a couple barges on the southern docks that seem to be unloading. You notice a barge on the north dock that seems to be loading. Kind of see they've got maybe a 10, maybe about a 6-foot tall crate on their deck, and you can see a rather large guy. Kind of, if you didn't know better, you'd think he was dressing down at sort of this slight crewman. It looked kind of slight, but wearing the typical sailor kind of stuff. They're taking it good. Some you think good naturedly because they're not really saying anything, and then they get back to work as you pass on and head to the Salty Rat. Getting to the Salty Rat, again, opening the door, you find it's a den of scum and villainy.
Nice.
For lack of a better term. I can hear you now, Brian, but
Okay, I don't know why I just cut out there for a bit. Sorry.
so you head inside and see Silva and Andal sitting at a table, kind of trying to avoid the rest of the people in this place. The door opens, Silva, and in comes in the other three.
I'll just go right up to him and say, because it's how much time has passed since we got in?
You maybe have 15 minutes.
I'll say, I've got us a barge, but we have to get moving.
Okay.
Okay.
They're leaving in about 15 minutes, so we need to be
Well,
on.
let us off. We got all our stuff.
All right. So Silva leads you guys back north along the docks to that barge to the north with the large crate on it. Coming up to the side, you guys get to the gangplank, and the largest man, and looking at this time, he's maybe mid to late 30s. Very weathered skin. Looks like he could be used as a piece of leather armor. He's kind of got crinkled around his eyes. And he kind of looks at you guys with sort of a bushy beard and says, "Oh yeah, it's the lady. Yeah, come on up. Come on up. I'm Captain Dak, and you are, I remember, the lady is Silva. Who are you?"
We've got.
I'm Artemis.
Go ahead.
Artemis. Kind of look like you might be a priest of some sort. Robes and stuff.
I have, I know the gods. The god.
Okay, well, hopefully that'll bless our journey. Kindly step on board and find yourself a spot amongst the cargo.
How long will the journey be? I apologize. I did not.
We head out in the next 15 minutes, and you stop your gabbing. Probably be there right around nightfall.
Excellent.
Hey,
Actually, I'll just
yeah.
nod. I won't even say anything. I'll just nod.
And who else we got here?
I am Morgoth. Nice to meet you.
Maybe I can use you to help get the last couple of the crates that we need.
Okay.
He points down the deck and says, "If you can get one of those, and you, Andal, I think is what they said, if you can get that one, and we can get off here a little bit sooner."
Sounds great. Sounds good.
As you guys go over to there, you see that there's another guy picking one up, and a diary guy, and Dax says, "Otho, come on! Point out, just hurry it up. We want to get going. I want to make it there before nightfall. Jeez, hard to get good help these days."
So, insight. Does it seem like everyone just knows he's that type of person where he means well, but he just comes across as grumpy?
Want to roll insight? You can. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just basing it on what the crew's looking like and
Yeah.
reacting
you're
to
kind of
it.
hearing that, and you notice Otho kind of stiffen slightly, but not in like he's pissed off or anything like that. Like more in just the sheer loudness of the tone, of the loudness
Got
of
it.
the voice. And you hear him sit back. He's like, "Yeah, I know. We're trying to get going. If you'd stop yelling at us all the time, we'd get it done faster." And then as you're getting past him and onto the ship there, Artemis, you see that sort of that slider crew member, and as she walks by, you realize that she might be a half elf of some sort. She kind of nods in your direction as she continues by. She's got the typical kind of bandana over her head, but there's a lock of reddish, a deep reddish hair that kind of is fallen out of it. Sort of a finer set of features to her face, and green eyes. But you can see she's wearing sort of like a sleeveless kind of jerkin kind of thing. You can see the tone of her arms. She's very, while she's thinner than these guys, she's definitely toned, very athletic looking. And you kind of try to make your way on there. As Sealgair, you kind of come up and Jack's like, and you are Missy.
Silence.
And
He's on mute.
she gives you a name. Here's her name. He's like, well, you find yourself up to the front. We got to keep it balanced. This barge is kind of a low keel. We don't want to fall. We don't want it to slip over. That's why that big crate is in the very middle.
Makes sense.
You guys pull up the rest of the stuff. Silva and everybody gets on, and he starts barking out orders to yet a third person that you see, another diary man, kind of back there at the kind of the tiller, and they kind of the half-elf girl and Otho start untying the ropes and throwing them onto the barge, and then they kind of leap up onto the barge, and Otho and the girl also both get these long poles and start pushing on one side, and the other one's kind of pushing against the dock. They slowly start pushing away from the dock as you guys start heading out into the lake Tannel. And barge slowly moves away from the dock, and then they kind of pull for a little bit, and Otho takes one of those poles and puts it in the center of the barge in the hole. The half elf does a similar thing. They lash them together, and then put another pole across them and sort of raise sort of a sail. It's a pretty. You've seen ships with sails. This is definitely more haphazard and, MacGyvered together than, yes, MacGyvered, I used it. MacGyvered together than typical sail. But after a little bit, it does seem to catch some of the wind, and the barge starts to move a little bit more quickly. At that point, Dak's still barking out some orders, and they start to, get everything kind of buttoned up. And you settle in for your journey across the lake on a flat-bottomed barge. A little scary, considering it's a flat-bottomed barge.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
For the most part, the journey is pretty unremarkable. You're in the middle of the lake. You can kind of see the mountains to the north. On the north side of the lake, you can see to there. You can see the hills on the south side that kind of roll up to another set of mountains on the south side. Lake itself is relatively clear. You can see somewhat into it, but after maybe about 20 minutes, you lose the bottom. The bottom seems to be you could see it's probably 30 or 40 feet, and then eventually you kind of lose it a little bit after about maybe half an hour travel. After a bit, the crew kind of just settles in and takes a seat, and tries to make sure that they're keeping everything balanced. And Dak kind of comes up to you guys and says, "So you're headed to Arkansas. Any particular reason? Normally we don't take passengers because most people don't like to get on the barges. They'd rather take one of the sailing ships."
We're.
Oh yeah. Can I
go
get
ahead.
that money?
Oh yeah, I'll give him the 5 gold pieces.
Okay. He says,
Monetary gains.
"Good. Glad we can do this business. But where are you headed for?"
Well, we're headed up. We're looking for some herbs that are definitely not here. And the supply has been low in town, so we're heading to the source.
Ah, all right. Well, Arkansas is an okay place. We'll be settling in there probably right before dark. Maybe a little earlier than that if we can get a good westerly wind. Wouldn't expect too much of a problem here during the day, but occasionally there's bandits. I don't know what do you call them? Pirates? That's not really pirates. We're sitting here on a lake. Occasionally somebody tries to be smart and try to take some stuff, but they don't ever usually realize that this is not the most stable of platforms trying to attack people.
Yeah.
So we usually don't worry about it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. So settle in. Got about, I don't know, 8 hours of travel. If you need to go, pee or anything, just do it over the side.
So, Captain, do you make this? Is this a?
What about the ladies who can't just pee over the side?
Do it over the side.
So, Captain, is this journey you normally make? Is this a daily journey or?
It's usually one day to get there. We unload, then the next morning we load back up and head back. Usually, depends. Sometimes the snapper here, she goes all the way down to the capital city where I get some other stuff, but usually that's a commissioned journey. This time it's just back and forth for the last week or so, as we're just taking the typical cargo between the. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be headed back tomorrow.
Do you know of anything going on? I mean, as in the area, there seems to be. We've been told there's a shortage of herbs and maybe some unusual activity in the woods. Have you heard any rumors of this?
No, I don't really pay much attention to it. Although we'll be stopping at we usually on our stopover on the night we end up going to I gotta find the name of the tavern. To the Thirsty Wench. Typically, the last time we were there, I remember some guy talking about some kind of spirits in the forest or something. I just thought it was hyperbole or something like that he was just making shit up. But maybe there's something going on. Not really affecting me though. Most of my cargo is goods and services, or goods from the capital. So coming up to here. A lot of it's things like, more shovels and stuff like that. Although this big, huge crate here, that one's a new one. That one's some kind of furnace or forge or something that they're sending back to the main city. Unfortunately, normally I'd be commissioned to take it all the way there, but they have some special ship coming in that we have to get, that they're having it sent down the river with. We're just getting it across the lake.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
it's pretty heavy. Trying to get that thing on was no small task, let me tell you. And Yvette over there almost caused the whole boat to tip over while it was happening, but luckily we got it on there straight.
What is it, Peter? I mean, we can tell, or it's just a.
No, it's a big, huge crate. But I mean, he mentioned like a forge or a furnace is what he kind of says. So you're not sure if maybe like somebody made an actual like furnace or forge, and they put it in a box and are sending it out. Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just build the forge or furnace in place? Seems kind of odd. But I mean, that's what he says. That's what he's calling it.
That is unusual, something that big, and
it's like a 6 foot by 6 foot by 6 foot box. So it's pretty large. Most of the largest crates you've ever seen are maybe 4 feet by 4 feet. This one's bigger than that.
Okay.
Yeah. So this trip we're taking that, and then most of the rest of this stuff is things like wine and beer and that sort of stuff. Pretty good harvest, I guess, this year. So sounds good. We'll take it over as long as they pay me for it.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. Well, and I'll sit down and kind of open a book to.
Okay, you start doing that. Anybody else want to do anything else while the barge just goes its merry way? We find out whether or not pirates attack.
I'm not going to do anything.
All right, so for the most part, the day passes uneventfully. Every now and then you can see some fisher boats and things like that, which most of the fishing is done in the morning, right before and after dawn, and then right before and after dusk. But there's still a few out on the lake. these guys seem to have single lines in them instead of nets, so maybe they're fishing something bigger or something more specific. Okay, about halfway across, you do see another barge going the other way, going the opposite way, filled with some supplies and things like that. Dak seems to, give a nod and a wave over to the other side, and the whoever's running that ship that barge seems to wave back, so seem to know who that is. And then as you get closer and closer to the other side, you can see the other side. On the other side you can see the southeastern edge. In fact, most of the whole eastern side is forested. I mean, you can see this forest kind of slowly coming into view. In fact, even some to the north is some forest as well, and some to the south as well, just not as heavily as it is as you sort of get towards the eastern side and look on the eastern side. About an hour before dusk, maybe about an hour and a half before dusk, you can definitely see the beginnings of Arkenfalls. Let's see. So as you guys come in, you start to see the beginnings of Arkenfalls. It's not the best picture just because there's no forest, but it's forested around here. This small village is this town. It's a small town, kind of starts to come into view. You can see that it's sort of built up the hillside on the northern side of the northern bank of the river, although there is some docks and stuff on the southern side as well. You can also see that these hills kind of narrowed in, and you can see almost as if portions of the hillside were kind of, I guess it's been 50 years since, so you can't really see the mark. See, everything's kind of been built up around this area. And about maybe half an hour before dusk, as the sun is just starting to come in and graze the tops of the trees, you guys come into the docks of Artemis. And activity kind of picks up again as the crew and that sort of stuff start moving around, slowing themselves down, pulling down the makeshift sail, getting the poles out and start pushing the poles in front of them to kind of hold for a bit, and then walking it through, and then kind of coming back and holding for a bit to try to slow this barge down, which they do for a good portion of like the last half an hour of the trip because of how much steam they got going. And as they get closer and closer to this river, to this where the river exits, there's sort of a bit of a current coming through here, so they're kind of trying to keep it from going too fast because they want to get into the docks, which they slowly maneuver themselves over into the docks. And welcome to Arkenfalls, as it kind of bumps up against the docks, and the woman Yvette, who you now learned, and Otho kind of jump off and start tying it back up. Dak kind of is like, well, we're here. You wouldn't want to help us kind of unload so we can get to the tavern more quick, would you?
I shall help.
Yeah, I'll hop below.
All right, so you guys start unloading some of the smaller portions of it off onto the docks. As Dak gets off and starts talking to the dockmaster a bit, you can hear him kind of detailing what they kind of have in the manifest, and the dockmaster's kind of going through it and directing certain things to certain places. Every now and then, the dockmaster will tell you, "Hey, those sets of the crates need to go over there, and then those need to go over there," and that sort of stuff as you kind of taking them off. And then after a bit, everything's off there except for the large crate, and you can see them kind of trolleying over. This particular berth didn't have a hand crane with it, but they're kind of trolleying one over to try to get it maneuvered into place. When Dak kind of says, "Oh, thanks for all your help," and Silva, he flicks 2 coins back to you. He says, "For your troubles and helping me get all this stuff off, we'll be able to get to the tavern way earlier than normal." You can see he's giving you back 2 of your gold.
Oh, thank you very much.
And if you need trouble traveling back, we're heading back tomorrow, but we'll probably be back here in a couple days after that too. So it's up to you guys what you want to do, but it's good having you on here. Notice,
Yes.
name's Dak Sallow here on the Snapper.
We'll
Good
be
day,
sure to
Dak.
remember that one. Just be sure to remember that name.
I'll try to bless whatever I would know enough to like imitate or bless function on the ship.
Okay, so you kind of
Yeah.
you kind of do the nomine padres even
Exactly. Bless your
and
travels.
he's like, thank you, Father. That'll be very helpful for us as we kind of head back the other way. Hard to tack against the wind. Usually takes a little bit longer.
Yeah. I bless it by
Maybe we'll see you
lowering
in the
keel.
tavern. If not, catch you later. he and the crew start getting the straps off of the big crate, and as the kind of the hand crane starts to kind of come over to get around. Give me 1 second. Let me get back.
Okay. What do you guys think of the crate? Is that a red herring?
I can just imagine these guys going.
Depends. It could possibly be something interesting.
I think it's worth a sneaky peeky.
I can
You
just.
I think I'm gonna see who picks it up, maybe, or
Yeah, I am kind of interested to see who wants it. It is interesting.
if it actually is a
He said it's a forge.
forge. Right, but I mean that doesn't mean it is a forge. Forge would be a good thing to say, and it's heavy and explains why it's so heavy, and nobody would want to mess with it. Forges are kind of boring.
They're kind of boring.
Well, I mean,
It's kind of lame.
it's a lump of
It's not really that interesting, It's just something that I can make metal into things with. It's like so boring.
Yep.
So, all right, you guys are on the docks in Arkan Falls. As you kind of look out over this, remember you've been seeing sort of the thorps and the villages that are kind of around Tanovar. This thing is definitely larger than that. You can definitely see streets. You can see it's kind of built up the hill onto the northern side of the river as the river kind of comes, as the lake kind of falls out into this river. You can see in this particular village, in this particular town, you can see that there's sort of like a set of rubble and stuff on either side of the where the lake spills out into Tannel River, which seems a little odd. And you can see that what looks to be telltale signs about 15 to 20 feet up of river of water erosion but the water level is like 15 feet lower than where that kind of canyon cuts would have been. And you can see the river kind of go into sort of a more, not really a canyon, but a more narrowed cleft of the banks, but it's at the same level as the lake. So clearly this barge could have went straight down the river if it had wanted to. As you look to the north on the village itself, or the town itself, there's no walls. It's mostly just built up the hill here. The docks down here, you can see that there's, you can hear the sounds of dock work and that sort of stuff. It's clearly some barges that have come up from up the river are being dealt with on the docks that are closer to the river. You've got the lakeside that's doing this sort of side, and then further up you can see the quality of the building gets better as it goes further up the hill. To the south side of the river, there's only a few buildings. There's a couple set of docks. It's not as heavily built up, but that stuff looks a bit newer, as if they've just started to build over there maybe in the last 20 to 30 years. You guys want to do? I will say for Morgoth and Andal, you've heard a few things about Arkan Falls. Having lived in Tanovar, you're going to pick up a few things about Arkan Falls. You know that it's basically like the first stop on the barge traffic on the way to the capital city. It's also a town of maybe 200 to 300 people, 250 to 300 people. So it's a decent sized town. Much of the trade here is to service the stopping point where the lake kind of turns back into the river. And it's sort of the port of entry into the Tanovar, the barony of Tanovar. So this is sort of the first stop in the barony here. So again, property still run by the Baron in Tanovar, but given a bit more leeway as sort of the entry into the barony. As far as things beyond that, you don't know a lot. You've never been sent out this way, Andal. Most of the stuff that you've been doing has been more around within the surrounding area of Tanalvar. This is a bit further afield than you've been, at least from your spying days. What do you guys want to do? Sorry, one last thing. Artemis, you came through here on your trip up to Tanalvar. You do know that there are 2 inns, the Wayfarer's Rest and the Windy Cove. The Windy Cove is here on the docks. This is the one you stayed in. Definitely bed bugs, definitely roaches in the rooms, but it was cheap.
Good times.
It was cheap, so it was easy for you to stay in. The Wayfarer's Rest is the Wayfarer's Rest is on the top of the hill. You didn't ever go see it, but you heard it was a nice place. There are 2 taverns here. The Thirsty Wench, which is the one that he mentioned. You didn't frequent it on the way through, but you did hear about it. And you also heard about the place called the Misty Tap. The Thirsty Wench and the Misty Tap are purely just taverns. Wayfarer's Rest and the Windy Cove are inns with a bar, but they were inns first.
Okay. So we had mentioned maybe seeing who picked up the crate.
No, I was listening. I still had my headphones on.
I'm sorry?
I was listening. I had my headphones on.
Oh, okay, got it. So we might want to do that. We need to get an inn. Money-wise, I would prefer the cheaper one, but if we're... I'll tell them what I know about this. And didn't they say there was a specific person in here who was the herbalist who was...
You heard Nicholas had mentioned a person called Morgan. That's all that he had said. But he said that he had a supplier in Arkan Falls named Morgan. That's all you heard, though. He didn't give a full name.
Silva refuses to go to a cheap inn. So if people need spotting, she's got them.
Okay. Well, I'll take her up on it. Do we want to go to the tavern and maybe get some rumors? Actually, let's go to the tavern and see what type of rumors are going on in the forest and maybe see what's going on. What do you think?
Well, it is becoming night. It's dusk, so if you want to try to get a room, you might want to do that first.
Oh, okay. We'll do that first.
Just pointing that out. It is dusk.
So go with the money bags. Does anyone want to stay and watch the box, or do we care that much? It may just be a red herring. It's not.
I really want to peek in the box. You know that, right?
Oh boy,
this isn't
your other.
I was going to say this isn't your other character.
We're not going to go look in the box. You can, be curious about the box, but we shouldn't be looking in the box.
Why not?
Because
we might piss off our ride.
Boxes. Yeah,
what harm came from looking in a box?
So many things.
Pandora.
So many problems. So much went wrong looking at a box.
So what are you guys doing? You guys heading up to the Wayfarer's Rest?
I am going there.
You do, even though you didn't stay there, Artemis. You do know where it is in the city. So I mean, you could meander your way to where it's.
I am going to follow Silva.
To the inn.
Okay, so you guys start heading off the docks and kind of do a sort of a drunken walk up the hill, trying to make your way to the top of the hill. You pass by you sort of pass by a couple of rings of what seem to be slightly changed in things. So you have the dock district here at the bottom. As you kind of go up a little bit further, you kind of come to sort of the docks is also kind of sort of the slummy part of this town. You get a little higher, it's more of a residential area that's sort of ringed around this part of the hill. The houses are okay, they're decent, they're well built, but they're nothing spectacular. You get up to the next ring, and sort of it's not like these are rings in the sense that there's like walls between them. It's clear how the change in quality of the way things are, and like there's a lot of people, a lot of beggars and stuff in the docks. As you get into the next level, there's a few. There's some kids that are playing around outside. The sewage is more in the streets. As you get to the next level, the houses are nicer. You don't see any garbage in the streets directly. The people that are tending to walk along the streets are a bit better dressed and that sort of stuff. And this is the ring that this kind of third one is the place where you know that the Wayfarer's Rest and the Misty Tap are kind of in this kind of level of a thing. the Misty Tap is directly in this sort of ring. You can, as you're kind of going up, you can see it down one of the streets. You can see sort of a misty waterfall thing, sign that you're pretty sure that the waterfall's coming out of a mug. So you're pretty sure that that's the Misty Tap. And you go up a couple more streets, and you finally come. You ask a couple directions, and you find the Wayfarer's Rest. And the Wayfarer's Rest sign shows a sort of a bed with a sail on it, sort of a motif of sort of like a sailing bed. Kind of motif kind of thing, which is a little weird, but whatever. The inn looks nice. It's a 3-story inn. There is no stables here, but you would assume in this kind of town that there probably is a stables, or you could just stable your horse anyway if you have. But this 3-story inn kind of nestled between a couple of other buildings that look like maybe they're more residential. The building itself is relatively decent size. Like, it would be the size of a manor house of some sort if you were kind of trying to give it an estimate of the size. Walking into the door, you kind of open the door and you walk down some steps into the main room. There's like 3 or 4 tables, a small fire on the side.
Perfect.
And there is a person behind the bar. There's a woman behind the bar. She looks to be in her mid-30s, and has dark black hair with one streak of gray or silver that goes down the right side, kind of tucked behind her ear. She has sparkling blue eyes that kind of look out at you and kind of almost seem playful as she hails you, and she says, "Oh, hello. We seem to have some new customers. Second. You seem to have some new customers. Could I help you? You need some rooms."
Hello, my name's Silva. I'm with these silent folk. We need, I need a personal room, but they can decide however, denominations. How many rooms do you have available?
We have approximately half a dozen rooms available this evening. There's a group of merchants that seem to be moving on their way through this evening, but I can find room for you if you need be. My name is Celeste Jarl. I am your innkeeper, your helper, your maitre d', your whatever you need me to be. And if you need any help with anything, or you need any comfort or anything of that nature, by all means, we can help you out here.
Oh, can we?
Why, certainly.
And I wink.
She winks back.
How much does a room run?
For a single room, with a single bed, that will cost you 1 gold piece. If you wish to have a double occupancy room, that will cost you 15 silver.
I think, can we get 1 single room and 2 doubles?
All right. That can be arranged.
Since they're not speaking up, they're getting doubles.
I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'm letting you. Like I said, I'm kind of.
She says, "All right," and
money.
she kind of turns around and you pay the 4 gold, and she turns around and gets you 3 keys. And she says, she points to stairs that's when you came in, it's to the right and toward the back side of the room. She points to the stairs and says, "These the first." She gives you these 2 keys. She says, "These 2 keys are on the 2nd floor, halfway down the hall, either side of the hall." And she says it's basically rooms 6 and 7. This key, she hands you the 1 key, is the single room. It is on the 3rd floor. It is room number 14, and basically says it's at the end of the hall.
Thank you very much.
Go get yourselves situated, and if you need anything, by all means, come on down and ask for Celeste. Be me.
All right. Thank you so much, Celeste.
Thank you.
The strong silent types have spoken.
Yeah.
She literally says that.
I'll give them.
Thank you. I am honored. I am interested in. Are there any places we're trying to get some herbs and to brew my tea? and I was wondering if there's a shop in town.
Oh, well, there is. There's an herbalist. She is on the. You'll have to take one of the floats, one of the rafts across, but she's on the south side of the river. Goes by the name of Morgan Venelier.
Ah, I believe I've heard her name mentioned before. She must be well known. Must be good.
Although I don't know if she's gonna have anything for you. If last I heard, she's been getting low on many things, but she might have tea and that sort of stuff. But if you're looking for something more medicinal, I think she's running low.
Oh, really? I would think here with all these, woods, and I'm sure you know the woods well. And have you been here all your life?
No. I mean, I grew up further down the river in the capital city, but I was a business entrepreneur, and I felt I needed to start a new business. And when I got out here, I ended up buying this inn, and I've been having a good time with it.
I've also heard good things about this inn.
Meet lots of new people, and it's a wonderful place to be.
She's a people person. Well, thank you.
Yes, I mean, as far as you had asked a question, which was, as far as what's going on in the woods, I don't know. I've heard of most of the people who come here aren't necessarily the woodsy type, if you know what I mean, or would at least would hire someone to do that for them. So I'm not sure, but I have heard from a couple of friends, let's call them, that there might be something going on in the woods, some haunting or spirits, or I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. There's been rumors of something of this nature for months now, but now some of the people seem to say that the rumors are true or something. It's a little weird. I don't know 100. I don't know exactly.
Huh. I would be interested in maybe talking to your friend, because I am interested. Like I said,
Well, if you wish to speak to some of my friends, then I would suggest you go to the Misty Tap.
The Misty Cat?
Misty Tap.
Ah, okay.
It's just a couple of streets down and a little bit over. It's a good tavern. It's typically where we get most of our food from.
So, do you frequent it often?
Well, I mean, when I'm not running the front desk here, yes.
Well, thank you.
I will probably get my night manager here in the next hour or so, and then I'll probably head over there for a bit.
I'll nod at Brian's character, like, there you go.
Oh, well, you're off in how long, you said?
About an hour.
Okay. I'm gonna swing back down in about an hour.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the room, and then maybe I'm gonna go to.
So the rooms are. So you remember the rooms at Raventhorpe? They weren't exactly bug infested, but they weren't great either. For a village inn, they were quaint, but nothing spectacular. These are relatively nice, especially for a gold piece a night. These are pretty decent. Nice beds. In fact, Silva, yours has a 4-poster bed. But the ones with the the double beds, are nice, sturdily made beds with. When you get on the mattress, it seems like maybe it's a feather mattress of some sort. It's not straw. That's for sure. That is very certain. And the rooms are, typically like the room in the inn that you were at in Raventhorpe is probably a 10 by 10 foot room. These are like the one on the upper floor is sort of like a small suite. It's a 15 by 20. The ones on the floors below are 15 by 15. So they're definitely a bit more sized rooms. In fact, Silva, you're kind of curious because it seems like this is a much larger room than you were expecting, but maybe it's the only ones she's got, because as you kind of go up the stairs and head down the hall, you can hear people moving around in some of the other rooms on this upper floor. And same for the two of you, you guys on the second floor. There's definitely, like, as you're walking down the hall, somebody comes out of a room, close to the door, and walks by you. It looks wearing, like, it's a man. He's a little heavier, kind of soft, kind of clearly not like a warrior type or anything like that. Clearly more either a bookish type or a merchant type kind of thing. And you can hear other people in other rooms. It definitely sounds like the inn is more filled up than you expect. Which belies the kind of common room down below where nobody was at on Celeste.
Can I do a perception check to try and hear anything being said or what they're doing?
Sure, you can try to hear. Listen in.
I would also like to do that.
Yeah, as you're going by, there's a murmur of conversations in a couple of them, but nothing that you can make out.
Okay.
You can go do it.
I'll head in my room then.
Same thing, Artemis. I mean, you overhear a slight conversation about the price of iron ore in one of them, but that's all you catch. And you're pretty sure as you walk by, you definitely hear Silver Ore Consortium mentioned. So there's definitely some conversation, business type of conversation going on in one of the rooms, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, so guys, what do you think? What do you want to do now? I think going to the bar would be a good thing. Anyone else like Silva? Do you want company, or are you going to solo it? I wouldn't mind going to the other bar. I also thought about we should maybe hire a guide to find what's going on in the woods. If we could find someone.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just find a woodsman or something, kind of to see maybe a lumberer or something like that to kind of give us a little more information before we walk in blind.
Well, that sounds like a good idea. I'm planning on joining Celeste as she's going down, but I don't mind a wingman if you want to come along.
Sure.
Anybody else doing anything besides Artemis and Silva?
Nope.
Do you want any support to kind of hang back a little bit?
Yeah, that would be better, so we can let Brian work his magic, and you and I can just chat in the corner.
Well, I'm just saying, just in case something happens, he's got someone at his back. Not necessarily obvious. I don't want to say full on stealth, but
Oh, I thought you just wanted to accompany us, and you and I could be at the table and listen in and find out.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
That's good for me. That's good with me.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my plan too.
Andal.
Anyone else?
Or Morgoth?
Andal was thinking about going around to see. You might go take a look at that. See if you can figure out where the big box is going.
All right, so Andal's going to head towards the docks.
Around a little bit.
And Morgoth is going to
go there.
Morgoth, you're not going to do anything?
Morgoth isn't doing anything, yeah.
All right, so Morgoth is holed up in the bedroom. It's a nice bedroom. It's actually better than your house's bedroom. You're okay with that? And then
well, I don't know. I have a pretty nice bed.
You don't have a feather mattress, though.
All right, that's fair.
You're welcome.
So you guys, so three of you. So Sealgair, are you going to go with? You are definitely going to go to the Misty Tap, or are you going to go with Andal to check out the crate?
Oh yeah, I'm going for the crate.
Okay, that's what I figured. All right, so
sorry, Andal.
Splitting everything up again.
You gotta be able to stealth if you want to go there.
So Andal and Sealgair, you guys head out almost immediately, or are you going to wait an hour after checking in?
Because I'm waiting an
away.
Well, Andal has the answer too. Andy.
Sure. Probably head out now. I don't know how long it's going to be there.
Time. Yeah, we're just going to head out at the same time.
Okay, so an hour later, you guys come down the stairs. You can see that there's now a much younger woman with blonde hair sitting behind the desk. She's got some glasses on. She just kind of looks up at you guys as you come by and nods, but doesn't say anything. You're coming from there, so she assumes your guests. And you guys head out and kind of break off. Two of you head towards the docks. Two of you head towards the Misty Tap. Let us start with Misty Tap, I guess, because it'll be closer. You guys get to the Misty Tap within 5-10 minutes. 5 minutes, really. It's like a street down and then maybe a few blocks over, so it's not very far away. Opening the door to the Misty Tap, you encounter kind of I wouldn't call it a joyous atmosphere, more of a subdued but conversational atmosphere. You see 3 girls kind of going between tables, carrying multiple mugs and or glasses and food. You see a woman behind the bar who's kind of cleaning out glasses and that sort of stuff. She kind of looks up and kind of nods as you come in, but doesn't say anything. Sitting at the bar is Celeste, who kind of notices the nod and kind of looks back and then sees you, and she kind of smiles a little bit and kind of motions for you over to the bar. And what are you guys doing?
I'm heading over to Celeste.
Yeah, I'll go up to the bar with him.
All right, so you guys hang up to the bar, and Celeste says, it's so good to see you. I was hoping you would drop by. This is my friend Alice, and Alice is a slightly older woman, maybe 40, something like that. Definitely more silver in her hair. Her hair is it's sort of it's not black. It's more of like a chestnut with graying silvered. She's clearly a diary woman, and so sort of a slightly shorter, sort of the best way to describe a diary people is they're sort of more like a Germanic type of stock. So I keep on saying diary like you should know what it means. Well, that's what it means. It's sort of a Germanic sort of style of stock. She says, hello. What can I get you to? Wine?
Maybe fine wine.
Beer? Companionship?
An ale for me. And actually, before we go in, can I get some money to kind of find some information, kind of grease and drink? I have, again, cheap.
Yeah.
Look at it, Brian.
You guys. I'm not giving you money, so.
No, I know. I'm asking Brian.
I'm giving him. I'll give him. I'll spot him 20 gold pieces and say,
Perfect.
Come on.
All right. So she says, beer, wine.
I'll take a fine one.
All right.
An ale for me.
Okay. She kind of turns back and gets a couple glasses out and starts pouring the drinks. And Celeste says, "So, what brings you to Arkin Falls?" I mean, it sounds like maybe something to do with the herbs, given the first questions you asked earlier. But is that all?
Oh, you are as bright as you are pretty. We are looking for. We were looking for some specific herbs that should have been in stock in town, but since there's been issues over here with supply, we came in to check it out.
Ah, I see. Well, I can't tell you why she's having problems with supply, but Morgan, I believe her store opens in the morning if you wish to go speak with her. Like I said, you'll need to take a float to the other side, but it shouldn't take too long.
Okay. Yeah.
But you did mention friends, because we are also interested kind of in
these
the
are my
area.
friends here, and she kind of gestures to Alice as Alice sets the drinks in front of you. She says that will be, and Celeste says, no, I'll take these first two.
Huh.
Mighty kind of you.
Oh,
Mighty kind of you.
I always like to meet new and interesting people, so and you two are both.
I'll slightly like touch her hand or something.
Okay. Okay. She says, but that can't be all that brings you here. I mean,
we've never been here, so I mean, there's
places and all.
There are people who may be ill back where who have
so it's because
flu may come in through the
well, that's a good enough reason, I guess. I guess it's fair.
Medicine is always needed, and these herbs are necessity. So, but also in a curiosity, I mean, ghosts, really? I mean, those. I know there are spirits, but
I don't know. I mean, you'll have to talk to someone who's more accurate. Like I said, all I've been hearing is rumors, and that people are starting to become afraid to go into the forest. That's all I know. I don't have any reason to go into the forest myself, so it's not a problem for me.
Of course not. You're running a business, and you obviously have other entertainment here. So why would you? I was just, I am curious as a man of the cloth.
Alice says, One second. I need to talk to one of my daughters. Give me a moment. And she goes over and talks to a shorter girl, and gives her a couple of gives her a tray with some drinks on it, and then sends her off to a table. Looking at the shorter girl here means she's like maybe 5 feet, maybe 4'10", 4'8", somewhere in that neighborhood. Her features are a bit heavier, and I think maybe she has some stubble.
Kind of a dwarf.
Yeah, she's kind of dwarfish looking, yes. But she's not a dwarf, though. You're pretty clear. It's pretty clear she's not a dwarf. She's a little too tall to be a dwarf.
But she has ancestry, probably.
Seems like it, yes. Alice doesn't have that kind of ancestry, so it seems odd that she would call her.
So
Alice comes back.
Okay.
And continues to start cleaning stuff up. She doesn't say a lot currently. She's mostly just.
I'll try to, talk her up and ask her, we are new to town type thing.
She's like,
are you
like
from here originally?
Which one, Celeste?
No, Alice.
Oh, Alice says, "Oh yes, I grew up here. Several streets further down the hill, if you know what I mean. But I worked my way up, and bought this nice, fine establishment about a decade ago.
It's doing quite well for you.
This is a good night. There seems to be. Oh, you might know. There seems to be something going on. Actually, you haven't mentioned you're from Tanalvar. There seems to be something going on in Tanalvar, some kind of meeting coming up or something. There seems to be several merchants passing their way through tonight and the last couple of days, actually. Not sure what's going on there, but it's been good business for us.
Out of character, do we know? It's been a while. Do we actually know?
We know the
anything?
mines, right?
Yeah, but is that that's not like a conference?
No, there's no conference. You don't know of anything, no. I mean, Tanalvar is a big location. There's like at least a dozen mines in the hills around it, so it's a big ore producer. You do know that Tanalvar is known for some of the artificing work that is done there. Not just Martech, but there are other artificers that have done some interesting things that usually make their way around the rest of the marches, and some all the way around the kingdoms. But in general, most of Tanalvar is all about the mines. So if there's something going on with merchants headed to Tanalvar, it might be probably something to do with the mine. Seems more that's the most likely in your heads. Anyway.
Well, I understand there's always mining business. So it's not really what I focus on, but the different companies have a lot going on. So the dwarves actually they disappeared completely.
So hold on, no, there are that's a question. That's a lore question. So, there are dwarves living in the cities here. So there are basically three types of dwarves. There are mountain dwarves, there are hill dwarves, and there are city dwarves.
Dwarves.
The city dwarves are known as the clanless. Your character doesn't know why they're called the clanless, but they're usually called the clanless by the other two types of dwarves. You do also know that there is a city far to the west, or a citadel far to the west, across the Sea of Tears, that is one of the dwarven citadels that is still around. It's several clans of dwarves. I can't remember the name of it right off. It's for the other campaign, but I can't remember the name of it. And that one still exists, thriving thing. Does brisk trade with most of the rest of the archipelago, so it's a known thing. There is a more secretive citadel to the north, like secretive in the sense that people know about it, but they tend to be xenophobic. To the north, farther north than the Diaria kingdoms, you don't know much about that one, but you do know that there is another citadel up there of dwarves. But the citadel here, whatever happened, those dwarves seem to have dispersed. Probably some of them are these city dwarves. Probably some of them went to the other two citadels. Not 100% sure what's going on there. But yes, there are literally dwarves. Like you interacted with a dwarf a few days back when you were doing stuff with the mining, and when you took all that stuff up to the mines. was definitely the overseer
you
at that
did.
warehouse was a
Nothing
dwarf. So there are clearly dwarves. Dwarves are not uncommon around here. They're not super common, but they're not like very rare or something like that. They're like, in fact, I told you the wood carver that was going to make your staff thing.
Right, he was a dwarf.
He's also a dwarf named Sven. So
For some reason, I was thinking that was one of the races that was even looked down upon, or
no, I mean the city dwarves are, they're kind of they're saying sort of at the same level of the diary. There's just not as many of them as the diary. Like they're the other two sets of dwarves call them the clans because they're dwarves without a home, so to speak.
yeah, they left
They should
the mountain or the
yeah,
hill.
They don't live inside the mountains. They live just like normal city folk. But at the same time, they're still dwarves for sure. So that's kind of weird.
Okay.
To answer your question. You guys continue to have a discussion with Celeste for a bit and Alice, and I will come back to you guys as Sealgair and Andal. You guys make it down to the docks. Make it down to the docks. You can see it's been about an hour, and you can see that you get down to where the snapper had been moored, and you can see that the crate has definitely gotten off. And at this point in time, it looks like they have it on, in essence, rollers, and they're slowly rolling it along the deck and the dock. So what I mean by rollers is it's like some wood that you roll it and you pull one off the end and put it in the front. You pull it off the end and put it on the front, so it slowly moves it up forward. They're slowly rolling it up with what looks to be, if it's hard to say, but you're guessing it's probably going to go towards one of these warehouses that are along the waterfront here. And you guys watch for the better part of 30-40 minutes as they slowly move it up and get it to one of those warehouses and get it inside one of the warehouses, and eventually close it, shut the warehouse up, and you see everybody kind of come out. That's what you see happen. That all takes maybe about an hour total of time. For some reason, none of my stuff got picked. So did you hear what I said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're talking about the
crate.
They wheeled it along the rollers and they put it in
it's just
the
like
warehouse
it
and they
looked
left.
like in my recording that it wasn't picking up my phone. So I was
Like
just
it did with
sure.
the pyramids.
Yeah, so you're using the rollers, you're kind of doing that sort of stuff. Curse me, I didn't put my microphone in the right spot. And kind of pulling one out and the other. And over the course of an hour, they move it along the docks. Like it clearly took them about an hour to an hour and a half to get it off of the barge, and it's been taking them about another hour to get it to this warehouse and inside the warehouse. And it's well after dark at this point. You can hear somewhat down the docks. You can hear noises and shouts and things like that coming from an open door. You believe it's probably the thirsty wench is your guess, is that's what's down there. What are you going to do now that it's inside and the people have left?
I would like to stealth over there to see if I can find a way to sneak in.
Right. So
what do you think, Andar?
I think we need to be careful.
Okay.
Because we were there when we were talking about overhearing in some of the rooms about the consortium and other things, right?
Yes.
Were we here for that? And we know that there's a whole bunch of merchants here, so it's possible that there could be some sort of thing that they're like, maybe it's an unveiling today or tomorrow. They're gonna like display something new that someone invented.
Maybe.
You want to go check it out? Sneak in a box?
We can certainly try. We just gotta be careful.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you're not sure. Like, so you guys headed over. Sorry.
Yeah.
You kind of move on over. Are you trying to be stealthy about it, or are you just going to kind of walk along in front of the warehouse?
Is there a lot of people? Like, people walk along the docks all the time, right?
Well, I mean, it's after dusk. It's nightfall, so I mean, there's not as many people. Most of the people you do see walking along here are either dock workers or the occasional, what you assume is a guard because they have a sword at their hip.
Well,
until you're not sure if it's a guard or if it's like the city watch of something, the town watch.
Yeah, well, until we get closer to the warehouse, we can just casually walk over that way.
Right. So you kind of casually walk by, and as you kind of go by it, you can see the warehouse is dark. Anything in particular you want to try to stealth to? If you at a certain point, if you want to stealth, just let me know. But otherwise, it just looks like it's dark as you kind of walk by it.
What do you think, Andal? You want to stand watch and I'll go try to sneak, or you want me to stand watch and you go try to sneak?
I think I'll do the sneaking.
You'll be sneaky?
I'll do sneaking.
Okay. I'll kind of just, casually stand watch.
Okay. So Andal, you
Just tell me I didn't get the fourth thing.
all right. Sealgair, you kind of turn around and kind of stand there nonchalantly, kind of on the side of thing, kind of looking one way or the other. And when you look back, Andal's gone. You have no clue where he.
Shadow melter.
So he kind of melts into the darkness. Andal, you kind of melt into the side by the warehouse and start going around it, checking the various things. There are some windows, but they're kind of high up. You'd have to climb up to look into them, at least on the sides. The front had a window, but as part of the door that led into it, the regular entry door, there was a bigger door that they put the crate in through. There's also a small, but at about halfway down the side, you do find another entry to the warehouse.
Okay. What kind of entry?
It's like a door, just like a regular door.
Okay. Can I examine the door?
I mean, again, it's just like a normal door, like an entry door, like a typical door. Looking at the door, it's locked.
Well, yeah, I would hope so.
Other than that, it's a door.
I'm going to check the door for some sort of alert mechanism.
All right, give me an investigation check. All right, so you got looking it over. It doesn't. You're looking through it, and you're like, this door seems clean until you're just about to think it. Oh yeah, this thing's perfectly fine. I'll pick the lock. When you get to the top, and you happen to notice that there's a slight indentation on the top part of the door where it would wide open that you think maybe is some sort of catch or something like that. So maybe there's a tripwire or a trip of some sort that might do something. You're not sure what it is though. But it definitely looks like there's something on this door that may or may not trip something.
How likely do I think it is that I would alert something if I open the door?
With that, you think it's a better than 75% chance this is some kind of either a trap or an alarm or something.
I'm gonna roll insight to think if I can beat it.
Have to roll insight.
Can I beat it?
I mean, you think you can always beat it. I mean, you can try to disarm it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to disarm it.
All right. Roll me a thieves' tools as you try to disarm it. Dexterity thieves' tools.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh.
All right. So you kind of do some stuff with it, and you get out one of your wires, and you kind of crick it around, and you get it in through the top side of the door, and then you slowly move the thing along until you feel what you're pretty sure is a wire there. And so what you do is you do some clicking, a little thing, and you somehow get a hold of that wire, and at that point you attach it. You just take that your little wire and attach it to the top of the door. You think at this point, if you open the door, that'll still hold it in place, so it won't release it.
Okay, I'm gonna try to pick the lock.
All right, for another thieves' tools. It always looks terrible. Like the last few have looked pretty terrible for you.
I roll like 3s and then I roll 18s.
You click it. You spend maybe 30 seconds and click.
Very cool. I will slowly try to open the door.
All right, so you slowly push the door open. And sure enough, your thing up there holds, and you can see the wire, and you can see that what that little indentation was something holding the wire in there, and that opening the door would have released it. And following the wire, you can see that would have is holding on to some kind of weight, and that weight would have slammed into what looks to be sort of a bell of some sort. But you can see inside here, and it's clearly a pretty big warehouse. It's a warehouse full of goods and stuff like that. There are definitely crates all over the place. You can see some sacks of stuff and that sort of thing kind of built up. Where you're currently at, you cannot see the big, huge crate, though.
Do I hear anyone else around?
Hold on. Sealgair, about this time, you notice that coming down the dock from the eastern side is one of those guard watch kind of types looking, and they're kind of looking around, not paying too much attention to you, but as they're getting a little closer, they happen to notice you standing there. It's very clear that you're standing there, and so they've now starting to look in your direction a bit more frequently. Just letting you know that. If you want to do something about it, just let me know. Andal, you're inside.
Just a second. Do I notice that they're noticing me?
Yeah. No, it's very clear that they're
okay. So
checking you out
I'll
more
like
frequently.
Do a little I don't know, maybe fake like I'm tying my shoe kind of thing, and then wander up a couple blocks away from them.
Okay. All right. So you start just moving on and trying to be sort of deceptive. Give me a deception check.
Oh crap!
I mean, you're not trying to get something super high. Just want to see what you get. That's only a deception. All right. So you do that. You kind of bend down. You relace up your boot, and then you start heading off to the east. In fact, you start heading off and go past him. Continues to watch you as you go past, but surreptitiously. And then you continue heading up a blocks. We'll get back to the one second. You're inside the warehouse there.
Right. Is there anyone else in there?
Nothing you can see. It's all dark.
It's all dark.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to make the door look closed. Like
Okay.
someone, I want to get it to like be almost closed, but not quite, just in case I really need to get out quickly.
Okay.
And then so that way someone will have to like walk up to the door to really tell if it's open.
Okay. Well, it's along the side, so it's along an alleyway, so they have to come down the alley. Do it in the first place, so.
Okay, and then I'm going to just try to walk around a bit and see if I can find stuff.
Okay. You start walking through basically stacks and stacks of different crates and things like that. There are certain areas that have more items than others, but for the most part, it doesn't take you more than 5 minutes to find the large crates. I mean, it's a pretty obvious crate. It's also very near the front door. It's like they pushed it all the way in, put a couple of blocks, so it's still on the rollers. They put a couple of blocks so it wouldn't roll one way or the other, and then just left.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to spend a whole bunch of time trying to get it super deep in either. It's pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you just coming up to it, it's pretty heavy. Like if you push on it, like you don't feel any kind of motion.
So it's still in the box.
Yeah,
right?
whatever it is, it's in the crate. Yeah, whatever this is, it's inside the crate.
I guess it's something I would have been able to see earlier if it had like markings of some kind.
Yeah.
It was just unmarked the whole time?
Yeah, there's no markings on it. That's not true. There is a set of scales, silver scales on the outside. You know that that's the Silver Ore Consortium.
Okay.
Logo
Right.
symbol.
I figured it must have been consortium related.
Actually, hold on. No, this wouldn't be Silver Ore Consortium. This would be the other guys. Hold on.
The other one?
There's a couple. There's a few. I just have to find them real quick. I will let you know next time because we're like 2 minutes away. But there is a mining company logo on it, but not silver ore. It's like the iron something or other. What I think it's called.
Okay. And I can't really figure anything else out.
You could open it if you want, but that would be.
I don't really want to open it. I feel like that would be.
Yes, you do. You
turning back around, Sealgair, you see that guard has gone past and seems just as you turn around and start heading back, he goes past and then heads up the street to the north.
Okay, can I maybe not in this exact same spot, but maybe somewhere opposite, but with a similar type view that I can keep watch from.
Yeah, I mean, you can continue to, like, you can just walk back and forth if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I'll just stop and wait for a minute
Yeah.
and then move.
All right. Andal, did you want to try to open it? It's up to you.
How likely do I think I'll be able to put it back, close it again if I open it?
Well, I mean, you can get it open. You know, you can find a crowbar around here if you want.
Wait, how big is this box? Like, how tall is it?
6 feet tall. 6 foot by 6 foot by
Oh.
6 foot. It's huge.
It's not as big as I thought it was.
Well,
Okay.
6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet as a crate is pretty damn large.
Yeah, it's a pretty big crate. I was imagining something that was like 15 feet
no,
tall.
no.
In my mind's eye, this thing was huge.
No.
Okay, never mind.
No.
What's inside?
Yeah,
I
you're not
will-
there.
I will try to open it a little bit, doing my best to not like.
All right, you're gonna have to give me a stealth roll because in this case, you're pulling up nails and stuff.
And I'm trying to like pull it like as straight as possible.
Yeah. Well, and it's
doesn't
gonna
look
make
like-
noise. That's my point. So give me a stealth roll.
I will give you a stealth roll.
All right. So you pop. You get maybe halfway down one side and halfway down another, so you can get a corner up. And you lift up that corner. You try to lift that corner up enough, and we're going to stop there for today because it's time for me to get ready to go dinner thing. And we'll let you know what it looks like in there next time.
right.
And dude, I gotta save something for the next episode.
I know.
The next
I
session.
was watching the clock. I'm like, I know he's got a hard stop soon. So
That was a good time. It's a good place to stop. I was hoping for maybe some different things, but this one's a good place to stop. You're about to potentially see inside this crate that who knows what's inside it, but it's huge and it's heavy, and it's related to an iron mine.
could be an anvil.
Could be a lot of stuff.
Could be a golem.
It could be. Could just be a bunch of ore. It could be an equipment. Who knows what it could be? It could literally just be a furnace or a forge, like they were saying it was.
But now we know. That's
Yep.
the important thing.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining today. And next time, I was hoping we'd get some combat this time, but given how short it would be, like if we were playing for another hour, we definitely would have gotten to some combat today. But we'll definitely get to some next time. So we will pick back up here in a couple of weeks. Enjoy.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good day.